Right now, inside your body, your bone marrow is producing approximately 2 million red blood cells every single second. Each one lives for about 120 days, then it dies and is replaced. In 4 months, every red blood cell circulating in your blood is brand new. Your blood is not the same blood you had last year. That means every 4 months, your body gives you a biological reset, a chance to rebuild the very fluid that carries oxygen to every tissue, every organ, and every cell. The question is, what are you feeding that rebuild? This is the Metabolic Files, and this might be the most important episode we ever publish. The blood is the foundation. Before we go further, understand something fundamental. The blood is not just fluid. It is the transportation system for everything your body needs to survive. Oxygen, nutrients, immune cells, hormones, signaling molecules. If the blood is compromised, everything downstream is compromised. The heart, the brain, the liver, the kidneys. Every organ depends on what the blood delivers. This is not opinion. This is foundational biology taught in every medical school on Earth. And yet, almost no one asks the most obvious question. What happens to that delivery system when the blood is built from inadequate materials? The food frequency problem. In 1992, a researcher named Bruce Tainio developed one of the first instruments capable of measuring the bioelectrical frequency of the human body. His work, which was examined by researchers at Johns Hopkins University, produced measurements that challenged fundamental assumptions about health and disease. Tainio's measurements indicated that the healthy human body resonates at a frequency between 62 and 78 megahertz. That is not a metaphor. Megahertz, measurable with instruments. And as body frequency dropped, specific conditions appeared at predictable thresholds. Now here is where the data connects to what you eat. Tainio's measurements showed that fresh organic food has a measurable frequency of 20 to 27 megahertz. Fresh herbs, 20 to 27 megahertz. Essential oils range from 52 to 320 megahertz. Processed food, 0 megahertz, nutritionally and electrically dead. Think about that. The majority of what fills grocery store shelves, fast food menus, and school cafeterias measures at 0 frequency. No electrical life, no vibrational contribution to the body whatsoever. And then we wonder why chronic disease rates have exploded. The fake food epidemic. The modern food supply has been engineered, not for nutrition, not for health, for shelf life, for addiction, and for profit. Food scientists have openly documented the design of hyper-palatable foods that override the brain's natural satiety signals. These are not accidents. They are formulations, fillers, hormones, genetically modified organisms, artificial coloring, preservatives, pesticides, microplastics from packaging, chemicals the human digestive system was never designed to process. These are documented ingredients in the mainstream food supply, not conspiracy theories, but listed on labels and published in food science journals. Here is what happens biologically. When the body encounters foreign substances it cannot use, the digestive system expends enormous energy trying to filter and expel them. Meanwhile, particles small enough to pass through the gut lining enter the bloodstream. Some lodge in arterial walls. Others clog the microcirculation, the vast network of the smallest blood vessels in the body, capillaries so tiny that red blood cells must pass through them in single file. When microcirculation is blocked, oxygen, nutrients, stem cells, and immune factors cannot reach the tissues that need them. Disease does not invade. It simply fills the vacuum left by a body that can no longer defend itself. The 120-day window. Now comes the biology that changes the conversation. Every red blood cell lives approximately 120 days. After that, the spleen removes it and the bone marrow creates a replacement. In 4 months, the blood you have today will be gone entirely. Every cell of it. Replaced. This is not alternative medicine. This is hematology. Published in every medical textbook for over a century. The average adult produces roughly 200 billion new red blood cells every single day. Here is where the data intersects with the food science. The quality of every new red blood cell your body produces is directly determined by the nutritional environment present when that cell is born. If the bone marrow is working with dead, zero-frequency, processed food, the cells it produces reflect that. If the environment is rich in bioavailable nutrients, living food, minerals, and compounds the body was designed to use, the new cells reflect that instead. Your body is not static. It is rebuilding itself constantly. The question is not whether it can rebuild. The question is what blueprint it is building from. When new red blood cells are born in a high-frequency nutritional environment, they are healthier, more efficient at carrying oxygen, and better equipped to navigate the microcirculation. The blood becomes cleaner, the microvessels open, the oxygen delivery to tissues improves. And when oxygen delivery improves, the environment that allows disease to take hold begins to collapse. The body heals itself. That is not a slogan. That is documented biological function. Every cut you have ever healed, every bone you have ever mended, every infection you have ever fought off was your body healing itself. The only variable is whether you give it the materials to do the job. The measurement question. Tineo's frequency measurements raised a question that the pharmaceutical model has never adequately answered. If the body is an electrical system, and if that system has measurable frequencies associated with health and disease, why is frequency never discussed in a standard medical appointment? His measurements suggested that a single negative thought drops body frequency by 12 megahertz. A single positive thought raises it by 10. Prayer and meditation raise frequency by 15 megahertz. Coffee consumed by billions daily dropped body frequency by 14 megahertz within seconds and required 3 days to recover. Whether you accept frequency measurement as established science or emerging research, one fact is undeniable. Modern life is systematically filled with elements that lower physical vitality. Processed food, chronic stress, environmental toxins, sedentary behavior, sleep deprivation. Each one measurably degrades the body's ability to function, repair, and defend. The metabolic files does not tell you what to do. It shows you the data that exists and asks you one question. If your blood rebuilds itself every 120 days, and if the quality of that rebuild depends on what you feed it, what are you going to change? If this episode made you think differently about what goes into your body, do one thing right now. Drop a comment with the number 120. That tells us this information landed, and it tells the algorithm that this content matters. Every study, every researcher, and every data point mentioned in this episode is linked in the description. The Metabolic Files does not make claims it cannot source. Verify everything. This channel is not operated by a medical professional, and nothing in this episode constitutes medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. All information presented is based on published research and publicly documented data. Consult a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to your health. The next file drops soon. Make sure you are subscribed so you do not miss it.